Hello there, and welcome to my channel Novice Modelling in the Midlife Crisis. My name is Andy, and today we're looking at our IBG models 135 scale 35037 Chevrolet C15A personnel lorry, number 13 cab and number 12 cab versions. That's kind of interesting because it does appear that you actually get two different cab variants with this, which is kind of nice. If you haven't seen some of my previous vids, we're actually doing this as a sort of comparison series because I actually have the Airfix 15 CWC truck and 6-pounder gun. And I also have this Lorry version of the same vehicle. So there's a few different videos knocking about on my channel about basically the same thing. Or are they? So I'd kind of recommend, if you felt like it, you could have a look, because everybody needs trucks in dioramas and trucks are cool. Yay, trucks. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the instructions, and we're going to have a look at the parts, and we're going to have a look at the decals and this little bit of photo etch that we get. We're not going to go through any history of the vehicle because IBG, who are a Polish company, don't actually provide any. That's kind of a blessing in disguise because you don't have to do any more reading, and this is quite an intense video potentially. So we start off here, we get a standard couple of pages, which is a review of all of our sprues. Some of them, it appears, are in grey, which kind of indicates to me from past experience that you don't actually need these pieces. Interesting. There's another one here. Again, we've got parts in grey that you might not need. We've got the wheels, parts in grey again. And we move on to a very, very long drawn-out process of highly detailed construction windows. So I'm not going to identify all the steps because there's a lot of sprues with this kit that we have to run through, so I'm just going to go through some of the basics. So we start off with our wheels here, pretty basic, put the wheels together. And then we're going to do these steps to get into the cab. We've got our fuel tanks and our storage boxes to attend to. We have some photo etch, which is provided here, which is for our radiator grille cover. We have an engine and transmission to assemble. We've got all the gubbins for the drive shafts and wheel steering mechanism. Like I say, we have a full, very, very, very detailed and quite complicated engine to put together. Here we start moving on to the floor of the cab. Then we move on to assembling all the small parts that go in the cab, like the seats, gear shifters, various steering wheel, center console for the driver, and we end up with something like this. I mean, I kind of like these sorts of 3D images that they provide. So these are all the steps that you're going to do, and this is kind of what it should look like when you've finished. That's kind of cool. I kind of like this way of doing it. And like I say, it is a complicated kit, so all the help you get is beneficial in my humble novice opinion. So step 22, we're moving on to putting doors on, and we're going to start putting our mud guards on. 23 is going to be putting windows in. Then we're going to start putting the roof on the cab. And step 25, we're starting all over again because, like it says on the box, you get two different cab variants for this, which is kind of cool. Sounds expensive. Maybe, maybe not. So this is basically just repeating the process with a different sort of cab, and you end up with a slightly different cab here, which is obviously kind of different to the one which is depicted on the box art. This is our spare wheel, our storage for the spare wheel. Then we move on to our chassis. These are the grey parts become obvious for what they're for on the sprues, which we'll look at in a minute. And we have a step-by-step guide to putting all of our little bits onto our chassis, putting our engine, our pre-built engine in, putting our radiator on, and all the drive shafts and wheel hubs and all the other mechanical gubbins that goes underneath. Then we move on to completing our chassis by putting our four wheels on, our exhaust system, etc., and we move on to the loading compartment in the bottom, which kind of appears to have a couple of nice, these are mud guards. We've got some boxes that we've already pre-built to put on. There's a couple of seats over the wheel arches that can be utilised by passengers. And then we have two options on how to construct our tarp or frame for the tarp. We can just put the tarp on the tarp frame on, or we have a sort of pre-built section with the tarp cover already fitted. We end up with a tarp out a tarpaulin off variant that looks a bit like this, or we have a tarp up variant that looks like that. So we get two different cool, we get multiple options with this, on both the cab, which you can see clearly here, the two differences. And there are built-up models without the tarp on. So again, you can see two very, very different appearing models. So that's kind of nice. You get some, unfortunately, non-coloured diagrams. This is for the 2nd Canadian Infantry Division in France, Normandy, July 1944. And we have Canadian Infantry Division, Sicily, 1943. And we have the Canadian Armoured Division in Italy, 1944. So that's our instruction book. Total of 45 odd steps to produce a multitude of variations. I like. Right, so the first sprue we're going to look at is this particular one, which is, this is the chassis, and as you can see, this is a long chassis. This is for the long wheelbase version, so we don't need that. There's some nice parts for our spare parts box. We have doors with this sort of they're door inlay cards, which are for the interior of the doors. Don't really know what this piece is. We've got some drive shafts going on. We've got, this looks like the part of the console for inside the cab. We've got a variety of other small bits that I'm not even going to attempt to identify. So that's that sprue. Here's another sprue with chassis on it. So this is going to be the one we're using, as this is the short wheelbase version. We have some suspension springs. We have the radiator. Got a whole load of these, look like the gear shifters possibly. Whole load of mechanicals, more springs, possibly the engine block here. Everything's got nice sort of detail going on it. Lots of nuts and bolts and rivets and all those sort of things that are going to be kind of interesting to paint up. So that's our second sprue. We seem to have another radiator grill here, which is kind of interesting. So obviously this is probably a repeat part. This is going to be the storage compartment for our spare wheel. More gears, more bits of mechanicals. We have sort of what looks like a flap here, possibly for the roof maybe, I'm thinking, because the roof opens. That looks like a block out piece for the rear tyre if you require. Unfortunately, I've got a broken piece here, which is the bumper. That's a bit of a shame. Never mind. Probably by rough handling. This small sprue, we've got our steering wheel. We've got a fan belt for our engine. Don't know what that is. A few more mechanicals. Kind of a tiddly screw. That looks like part of the exhaust system there. Let's move on to this pile here. This is all our cabs with our multitude of variants, it would appear. So we've got a sort of angular cab here with the open section, and we can have it with a non sort of sunroof going on as well. There's some exterior doors with some door handles and some rivets there, all nicely detailed again. No flash, nothing looks untoward about anything. We've got another roof here, which is possibly going to be the one depicted on the cover art. As you can see, we've got the sort of hatch going on here, or the sunroof, and this has got a square edged roof, so that's obviously the one that's in the cover art. We have two sets of cabs. I'm not going to go into try and identify which one is which. There's the rear of the cab, that's going to be the floor. We've got some mudguards for the front. That looks part of the console. We've got our windscreen frame. They look like side panels. A whole load of stuff going on. So there we go. All nicely detailed. No flash, no broken parts. Handle parts more carefully, Andy. So this is the other cab, obviously. This comes with we've got another cab roof here. It's all kind of confusing, so which one's which. This one hasn't got the sunroof in it. This one's got some front parts for the engine bay, so that's pretty obviously, I assume, this one here. Floor pan, mudguards, roof. This is our pre-built canvas tarp on the sides of the loading bay. You can see we've got a sort of closed down flap here with the strings nicely sort of identified to tie it down. That comes in one piece, so you just stick it on the top. Kind of nice that you don't have to make a gluey mess all on the bottom, but that's just a novice's opinion. And we've got this little tiny sprue, which is possibly going to be these sort of storage boxes which go underneath. Got some detail on it, minor strapping, nothing too exciting. This is the base of the load bay compartment, so that's going to be upwards with the wheel base here. We've got side panels and the front and rear. Got a couple of seats that go inside. They look like the rear mudguards, and we've got our rather delicate looking framing. That's going to be interesting to get that off in one piece, I would think. Maybe I'll just go for the tarp up version. We have 6 wheels in total, although this one only requires 5. One of these is to be going in the spares box, or I suppose you could just throw it in the back. These have got detail on them that says Goodyear and the tyre size. That's kind of nice. I like it when they have these little details on. We've got our clear plastic section, which is for the side windows and the windscreen. So obviously there isn't a sort of weird windscreen on this one at all. We have 2 of these sprues. These are duplicates. We've got some more sort of springs. Again, some of this could be sort of required for the long wheelbase version. That looks like a petrol tank. Don't know what the rest is. All nicely detailed. You can see the sort of raised sort of grill on the these will be these sort of steps to get in the cab. And we have 2 of these sprues as well, which appears to be some sort of seats, probably for the cab. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 standard army rifles. These look like wheel hubs. We've got some jerry cans and a few other bits of mechanicals that we're not going to try and identify. 2 of those sprues in total. So that completes our oh no, it doesn't. We've got the photo etch, which you can have a look at, which comes with a fan, maybe 2 variants for this grill, because we've got 2 different types of hood. Another grill here, don't know what that's for, and a few other bits and bobs. Kind of interesting. They look quite nice. We have our decal sheet, which comes with several unit markings for the different Canadian divisions available. I kind of like these ones. These ones look like sort of hand painted numbers, which you can see here, 68 and CT25/4. So they look like they've just been daubed on in roughly in paint. So I kind of like that. I've never seen that sort of thing on a kit before. We have the British sort of RAF standard sort of identification marking for the roof, or when you get to D-Day, everyone was using the stars just to make it easier for pilots, etc, etc. So, like I said, I've got, whoa, let's just get these out of the way. I have either done or will be being released shortly a full-on kit review of this one, which is the same truck, but this is a much older moulding, so you can go and have a look at that. The moulding for this Italia is actually based on this Airfix version from 1977, which was actually a reboxing of something that was produced by somebody else called Max Plastic Models in 1974. So I suppose what I'm getting to is sort of doing a comparison review between these two, because this is essentially a 1974 tool or moulding, and this is a 2016 moulding. So we're going to throw these two side by side and look at a few parts, and you can see which one you'd rather buy. I mean, my personal way of looking at this is great for a novice, someone like myself. This is probably someone with a little bit more experience and a little bit more knowledge, because there's a hell of a lot more parts, and you know, you get an engine and all sorts of other bits with this. Though incidentally, I got the Italia from Jadlam, which is a UK company, at a cost of £26.95, and this one, with all its extra parts, its 2 different cab variations, blah de blah de blah de blah, costs the same price. Seems to me this is better value. That's all I'm going to say on that. For those of you that have never heard of IBG, they do actually have a whole range of lovely trucks. I like trucks, so I have a few of them. We've got the Chevrolet C60 General Service, which is basically the same truck, but just a long wheelbase version. We have a Bedford QLR Wireless, which if you go into my playlist, you'll actually find a full-on kit review for this that I did about 4 months ago. You get a Bedford QLD General Service truck, which is basically just a tarp-covered version of the one previously, the radio truck. I think this one's rather cool. This is a Bedford QL tanker. So this is obviously for storing petrol or aviation fuel. They also do non-British ones as well. I kind of like this one. This is a 3RO Italian truck, 90/53 Italian ammunition carrier with these boxes for putting all the ammo in. I think that's really, really cool. This is the first IBG model that I bought, I think, about 7 months ago. And I kind of like this one as well, which is the Einheits diesel with Bilston recovery crane. This is a German truck. So they do a whole load of trucks, and I'm kind of thinking that a lot of people kind of aren't really aware of them, and they're generally very reasonably priced. I mean, like I said, that, which is £26.95 from Jadlam, and is based on a 50-year-old moulding, is exactly the same price as that, which is £26.95 from Jadlam. So it's up to you which one you want to go for. I mean, like, it is kind of, for me, that's kind of easier to do. So, you know, that's probably what we'll go for first, and then maybe we'll add this one at some point and create a nice little diorama out with them, probably using the different cab. So thanks for watching. Please do have a quick nose at our other what's in the boxes. There are about 130, 140 of them. We've got a couple of interesting kit comparisons as well, and we'll be doing some more building shortly. And as always, thanks for joining me. Be seeing you.